Hey, this is Myles Kennedy. Welcome to Myles Army AU NZ. The duration of the interview.
Cool.
I love it.
In fact, I'll do like a puppet thing, and I'll have them answer the questions. It's a really. Everything's great.
Need another couple of minutes, or are we good?
No, we're good. We're good.
Now you're just chatting?
No, now we're recording.
Welcome back to Australia.
Thank you.
How's the tour going so far?
Couldn't be any better.
Did you enjoy
Amazing.
New Zealand?
Yes.
Yeah.
New Zealand was great. Crowds have been quite a bit larger from the last time. So we were pleasantly surprised from New Zealand to here in Australia.
Yeah.
So that certainly is very inspiring for us, you know, to see that it's growing. And people, you know, there's just we're feeling a lot of love from everybody down here.
Yeah, we spoke to a lot of fans after the shows that were really stoked that you guys were over there.
That's great.
So yeah.
Awesome.
So how are you liking Australia?
Oh, it's beautiful. Well, it's great because the other day when we were in Brisbane, we went to play with the koalas. And it's funny because you come down here and you're just like total, my wife and I are total tourists, It's like we're just doing the things that tourists do, but it's fun because I think I've been down here between Alter Bridge and Slash and the guys, I think 4 or 5 times in the last few years, and I haven't had a ton of time to really check everything out.
Yeah.
So there've been a handful of days where there's a window of opportunity to, see what's going on, and that's been very enlightening.
Cool. Okay, well you've been really busy the last couple of years with Slash and Alter Bridge, and so much stuff has happened memories-wise. Have you got anything? If you could take snapshots of the last 2 years that stick out to you?
Yeah, and they're almost compiling enough now to where it's almost hard to pinpoint. It's like, it's a good question. I mean, I think that just overall over the last few years, I think when you the other day was pretty cool. We walked into Sony there and they had gold records for us. The little things like that I don't take for granted whatsoever, because that was always kind of a bucket list thing for me. Yeah. And there was a point in my career, in my life, when I thought, well, that's something I don't know if I'll get to check off. As a young artist, I was like, wow, that'd be cool. There was a song by Life's Been Good to Me So Far by Joe Walsh. And there was this line about gold records on the wall. When I was a kid, I was like, oh, cool, gold records, And so Mayfield 4, we put a few records out back in the 90s, and far from gold records. And so as the years have gone on, and that sort of thing ends up happening, you were like, wow, that's like a part of what you aspire to, is to experience something like that. So I'm very grateful.
Awesome. Well, talking about your bucket list, do you have any major things that you still want to check off?
Career-wise, I've been so damn lucky. I don't know if there are any left. I think at this point it's all pretty much, I've been very lucky. As far as just overall life bucket lists, yeah, there are probably a few things. I think as time goes on, I'm trying to look into different things I haven't experienced. I've spent so many years just chasing music down and doing it, and I love that still more than anything. But somebody asked me a few days ago, do you have any hobbies? And that's always the hardest question to answer. And I kind of don't. Music is my hobby, and it's what I do. So maybe I'll learn to fly fish or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got to find something else. I'm sorry.
Coeur d'Alene.
Coeur d'Alene, fly fishing in Coeur d'Alene. There you go.
Maybe. vocal range is incredible. Your vocals is what drew me in as a fan personally. Can you talk about your technique, the technique that you use? I remember in a previous interview you said something about the bel canto technique.
Yeah, I believe that's what it's called. Although I'm considering I use that technique, whatever the technique is, I should probably double check. But I'm pretty sure that's what it is, because where I learned it from, the person I learned it from told me that, I believe that's what he told me it was, many years ago. And it's definitely, it's saved my voice for sure. Because the stage I am, or at the point at this point in my life, as long as I've been doing this, if I'd been singing the way I sang, like early Mayfield 4 period, it was a totally different thing. I didn't really know what I was doing. I just kind of opened my mouth and would sing a certain way. And part of the reason I decided to integrate some technique into it was because when I started touring, I noticed it was really hard to maintain that night after night. And I came to find out that if I kept doing it that way, I'd probably blow my voice out, within a few years of touring. So I've been really devoted to this technique, and I never go on stage without warming up for at least an hour prior to a show. And I really believe that's kind of what's helped me.
So that's a major element of that.
Huge element.
Yeah.
It's a huge element. And some people argue like, oh, it's in your head. I know singers who can just go out there and sing, totally cold. They do great. But for me, it not only does it warm up my voice, it also just kind of calms me down. Singing in general is probably the most healthy thing for me, as far as like whether it's calming nerves or just helping me kind of find that zen. It's really a huge part of what I do.
Solo record. How's that for the release?
Yeah, that's
anything set in stone?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Absolutely nothing. Because right now it's like
just waiting.
I'm sorry?
Just waiting.
Well, I've got, we're doing this album cycle, the Apocalyptic Love touring, and in support of that, and then there's talk of doing AB4, another record there, and then now there's talk of next Slash and Conspirators record. So it's just this continuous cycle of touring and recording, and I really do want to get it out somehow. I'm trying to figure out what's an appropriate way to do that, because I put a lot of time into it, and it's something that I'm very. It's got to have its day.
Yeah.
I think that the problem now is if I were just to release it, not promote it anyways, it'd just be kind of a waste. If I didn't at least go and get in a van with an acoustic guitar, play some dates, and promote it somehow. Not promote it so much, but just give it its time.
So that's still the vision you have for it?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
Any themes or anything along with it?
A lot of that record, a fair amount of the songs touches on where I was when I met my wife. So it's not a love record, in that sense, but it certainly touches on where I was psychologically, and I think kind of the solace that it brought me. in relation to where I was prior to that, which was a pretty dark period of my life. You know, by the second Mayfield record, it was pretty obvious that, you know, I was a little disillusioned with a lot of things, and so when I met Selena, it was like, okay, it was a total, total about face for me, and a total kind of faith in humanity that I didn't necessarily have.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any clues? Any hum a chorus? Little bit of a sneak peek.
I can't stop secret.
Okay. Watching you on stage with your guitar, we love it because you just lose yourself in it. And a lot of fans that we speak to go, you know, I've seen Myles on the guitar, I've seen Tremonti on the guitar, it just makes me want to pick it up. Do you have any tips for beginners or important elements that you sort of need to keep in mind when you're starting to play?
Yeah, I think that for me, when I first started playing the guitar, it was so drawn to it, and I was kind of obsessed, really. I mean, I can still, it's funny because I can still remember, like after I saved up my money and bought my first electric guitar, I remember taking it home and opening it in my bedroom, and I could still smell that, like the way the case smelled, the way the light hit the guitar. I mean, it was a real pivotal moment, and from that point on, it was just non-stop practicing and learning songs and learning solos and trying to learn theory and anything. I was just a sponge. I was just, and you know, I was so into it. So I think the best advice I can give is depending on what you want from it, you know, it's just like with anything. If you put in, the more time you put in. I mean, I play with Slash and Tremonti, and I watch how they are as well, and they've always got their guitars with them. They're always playing, and they still got that passion and that fire. So I think that's
key.
That's key.
Yeah. Great. Okay. We've been lucky enough to enjoy the end product of many well-written songs. Has any particular song been a real challenge to you during the writing process?
Yeah, there are always big challenges making some of these records. With Apocalyptic Love was actually lyrically probably the most challenging record for me, because it touched on themes and whatnot that I hadn't really attempted before, and so I really had to push myself. There were so many rewrites, you know, so many different drafts of some of those lyrics.
Did you just go, oh, I don't want to do that one now, we'll go to another one? Oh
yeah, yeah, for sure. And there were songs that, geez, like No More Heroes.
That was my favorite.
Thank you. No, that was definitely, it turned out great in the end, but it took a long time to craft that one. And Anastasia was a real challenge, because there was a totally different melody originally, and then you know, I just obsessed about that one forever.
That's awesome. It's a great song.
Thank you.
You've collaborated with a few artists. Is there anyone that you think your voice would fit well with that you still want to collaborate with?
It's a great question. I always kind of get stumped when I try to think of things. You know who I love, who I just think is amazing? I don't even know if you've heard of her over here. I love Katie Lang. There's a record she put out about 20 years ago that was actually a big influence on me as a writer, and I think her voice is arguably the most perfect human voice that exists. I mean, it's just as far as like an instrument, it's just it's stunning. I hear it and it just I can't believe what a gift she has. You know, I love Katie Lang. I think she's fantastic.
For Myles Kennedy, what is the best feeling in the world?
When people are singing the songs, it's priceless. It's just like last night, looking out, seeing people sing along with Starlight and all that. It's super heavy. Like with Alter Bridge, when doing Watch Over You and turn it over to the audience, and they sing that last chorus. I mean, every time, it's just so much goes into putting a song together, and so. Those are the moments when you realize that it resonated enough in somebody else's life that they actually spend enough time listening to it. They know it. They know the melody. They know the lyric, oftentimes better than I do. And that's it for me. That's the payoff for all. Because the music business isn't always easy. It's not always fun. And there's a lot of stuff that nobody wants to hear about. But those moments make everything absolutely worthwhile.